Manchester United are reportedly closing in on a total agreement with Barcelona and Frankie de Jong. Now, it's been said over the past week or so, de Jong has no real interest in leaving, but in the past 24 to 48 hours, not only are we reading reports that the economical situation at Barcelona are pushing for the Catalonian side to sell Frankie de Jong, but more and more noise and talk about the club wanting to move on and look at different players as well. It has been reported this morning via Sport, 2 million followers on social media, verified outlet, that Man United are willing to reach the figures that Barcelona would give the okay to in this operation. And they have stated that Frankie de Jong now has a serious chance of ending this stage of his career as a Barcelona player. Man United are already very close to reaching an economical agreement regarding the sale after the last direct talks between the clubs. And it is said that in the last few days, Man United have started their final push for the player. Could this deal be about to happen? Could the transfer market be about to be smashed open? We're going to delve into it in much more detail this morning, live on the Done Deal Show. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Here we go. Good morning and welcome back to another live episode of the Done Deal Show. The Frankie de Jong news continues to come in, and we sort of said a few days ago, Ben Jacobs came on the terrace and said, look, the player has said he's staying. Probably means he's been told by the football club that they're happy to keep him. But as we all know, journalists will only tell us what they know at that moment in time. And I'm very much looking forward to getting Ben and Dean and Rob Blanchett on the show next week. Dean on Monday, hopefully Ben again on Tuesday, and really get their insight to what has happened and how this has changed so dramatically in the past 48 hours or so. There's been many, many reports coming out, and we'll take you through yesterday's and today's to help you make your mind up that little bit more. Now, yesterday, what we heard is that Erik ten Hag, 100% convinced about Frankie de Jong, and he wants the player to be the face of Manchester United's project and become their statement signing. This essentially answered all the fears that some Man United fans had, that this was an economical signing, a commercial signing being forced by the Glazers. It isn't. It's Erik ten Hag that is pushing for this deal. Frankie de Jong has been told by Xavi that the Barca board are not particularly happy with his performances and that his departure depended on the economical situation at the club. So for the first time yesterday, we were told it wasn't just about the money, it was about the player and his performances and the direction the club was going in. Of course, Barca had ruled out certain types of investment and they were looking at other economical situations, some of which was reported to be around lowering the wage bill at the football club as well. So these things transpired yesterday. Now, this morning, Sport, as I've already mentioned, 1.9 million followers across on Twitter alone, verified media outlet have stated, along with a number of other claims, that Man United are willing to reach an agreement with Barcelona. And at the same time, the Frankie de Jong has now got a serious chance of leaving the football club, ending his Barcelona career. Essentially, what they've said, though, in that same report, which is worthwhile listening to, is almost the last little bit is almost not Frankie de Jong agreeing to leave per se. The way they have worded it in this article is Frankie de Jong conceding that he's going to have to go. And I know there's a lot, and we're going to go to your comments very soon. I know there's a lot of people that think, why would you sign a player who doesn't want to be at your football club? Well, he's a professional, and his club are telling him they don't want him anymore. That's essentially what's going on here. Raheem Sterling could be sold by Manchester City this summer. He doesn't want to leave. Does that mean nobody should sign him? Because his preference would be to stay at Man City. But Man City may just go, you know what, you've been good for us. We want to cash in on you now, and we want to try new things. The greatest teams in the world that are at the peak of their powers have sold some of their best players before to keep the squads fresh, to keep things new. And I'm not suggesting, look, Frankie de Jong's got years ahead of him. Barca have been through turmoil. They need to lower that wage bill. They may want to try something different in that midfield area. And this just could be a sacrifice that they are willing to make. It may not make sense right now, but who knows where Barca will be in 4 or 5 years' time. For me, I have no problem with Man United doing this deal from a does he really want to be there point of view. I don't think it matters in any way, any shape, or any form. Now, I want to go to your comments here today. Abdul here on Facebook says, what I don't understand is how loyal is Frankie to Ten Hag. I believe if the manager has played a major role in your development, comes to you, it shouldn't give him a hard time. Yeah, exactly. And listen, if Man United still had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I don't think he'd be, and everything else going on at the club, I don't think he'd be considering it at all. He scored 18 league goals. The rest of the team was a liability. Okay, I'm not too sure what that's him referring to. Anyone who thinks the Glazers know anything about De Jong is dumb. This signing is for Ten Hag. Otherwise, the dumb board wouldn't even look at it. Listen, you're absolutely right. This is not a Glazer signing. This is an Eric Ten Hag signing, and all roads point to that. There is no doubt about that in my mind. Hey, Terry, good morning. Glad to have you back. Hope coffee was good. Let's go. Tea. I drink tea. I don't drink coffee, but yeah, it's very, very good indeed. Comment here from Aaron says, next season is going to be massive. You're absolutely right. Next season is going to be gargantuan. It really, really is. If some of these signings and some of these players come to fruition, at all the clubs, at all of them. Terry, has Lukaku acted professionally? No. Well, no, he hasn't. He hasn't been professional his whole time since he's been back in the UK, back at Chelsea. And that's why Chelsea are looking to move him on. And he's now trying to force that move and everything else. I'm not going to lie, but have we really seen De Jong's abilities in full? I don't think so. Do you know what, Stuart? You pull on a great point there. I think his time at Barcelona has been hard because Paul Pogba joined Man United. Martial joined Man United. Rashford came through at Manchester United. I'm just throwing those names out there. At the worst time. If those players I just mentioned were all 10 to 15 years older and had played under Fergie, their Man United careers would look very, very different. Frankie de Jong joined Barca just before the poo hit the fan. And what sometimes happens in life is timing. The very famous song by Barry Manilow, Man Like Barry. And one of the lines in the song is that we had the right love at the wrong time. And that can happen a lot in life, where something right happens, but it's the wrong time for you or the other person or both. And that's kind of what has happened to Frankie de Jong, in my opinion, at Barcelona. The timing has been off. This here is from Bale that says, I hope that De Jong comes to United. He's a top CM, controls the pace of the game. Listen, a lot of people agree with you on that. A lot of people agree with you on that. A lot of people think that that's what needs to happen. You know, he's a top player. Now, I'm reading the whole, but you need a CDM. Depends what people think a CDM is, in my opinion. That's the crux of the matter to me. Is what do people actually think a CDM is? You kind of get this, everybody kind of at the minute is wanting this blood and thunder, crunches into tackles, breaks up play. There are different types of CDM. There are different types of players that you can utilize and that you need, in and around your team. And someone like Ruben Neves would be a prime example. 35 million pound Michael Carrick-esque. Man United had a Michael Carrick. This was crazy, right? You had Chelsea that had more, they had Claude Makelele, they had Obi Mikel as an example. Man United had Michael Carrick, who wasn't a crash bang wallop player. Wasn't known for his physicality or his speed, but he read the game. He controlled the pace. Could play in a double, could play in a three, could play a single six role by himself. We didn't have anybody in that midfield that broke up play per se. Not in the N'Golo Kante style. Chelsea then went on to Kante, and everybody kind of wants that. They see that physicality as what's needed. You don't need it. You don't need it. Man United, during the Michael Carrick era, won more trophies. So when Michael Carrick joined Man United to when he left, nobody won more league titles. Nobody won more Champions League. I think maybe Chelsea won more domestic cups. But United still won an FA Cup, got to a number of FA Cup finals, League Cups. And we didn't have that type of central midfield player. So there are more than one ways to skin a cat. So I think people have got to just realize that when it comes to some of these deals. Spot on. Frankie de Jong is like Michael Carrick. He breaks up play and then spread the pass. I think he's a little bit more forward thinking. But my point is, if we just sign Frankie de Jong for the midfield this year, it isn't overall good enough. But listen, this is the message to Man United fans. Don't let rivals start to convince you for a single second that signing Frankie de Jong is a bad thing. The nonsense that we don't have a lot of money is a lie. There'll be around 80 to 90 million pound raised through sales. There's already a budget of about 130 to 140 million pounds. It's probably a little bit higher. We're playing it down. They've already told the manager that what they sell will be able to reinvest. Man United could spend well over 200 million pounds this summer. Well over. Frankie de Jong, you could bring in Timber, you could bring in Neves, we could bring in Darwin Nunez. You promote 2 or 3 young players, you're going to bring James Garner back into this team. You've got Ethan Laird that can join the team. You've got the likes of Hannibal that can join the team. Coupled with what we've already got, Man United will be in a strong position. Donny van de Beek's going to come back. And I know there's a lot of question marks over him, but I'm very, very, very intrigued to see how it works. Terry, do you want a Fabinho type CDM or Rodri type? The point is I don't mind because there are more than one way to skin a cat. You know, Frankie de Jong plays that kind of low middle role for in the Netherlands last night. They did all right, didn't they? Smashed up Belgium. So, listen, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It depends how we're going to play and what we're going to do. Let's do some more of your comments here. With the freeze going, who we sell must be 2 million per week available. Well, Man United will raise through the savings of salaries through players leaving and being sold. United will increase their spend capacity by about 60 million pounds. Remember, net spend doesn't work through players in, players out. There's a percentage of the turnover that gets spent on player expenditure. If we spent £250 million on players this summer, the year one expense on that would be somewhere in the region of about 30 to 40 million pounds. That's all that would come out of the bank accounts year one for those transfers. So that's covered by the players that have left already. The players that have left already, I think, equate to about 40 odd million pounds of salary saved. So the money is there. I wouldn't even worry about it as a Man United fan. Listen to the financial experts and not the newspaper. Anyone that says net spend is real, never ever listen to their thoughts on finances in football because they're pricks. They're being pricks because they know it doesn't exist. It does not exist in that sense. It doesn't work like that. Pricks is probably too strong a word. I apologize. They're being silly billies. The financial experts have debunked it. Let's go with the financial experts. Man United have got the money. Relax. I expect Garner, Hannibal, Palestri, and other lads to be in Ten Hag's 2-year plan as a safe option. Listen, there's some young talent in that Man United team, and Ten Hag has a history of promoting youth, and I'm a traditionalist and I'm a romantic Man United fan and want to see some of these kids given an opportunity. Now they've got to be good enough. I don't want if Hannibal comes in, plays a number of games and isn't doing it, I want him out the team. I don't want us to have a lame duck. We've got to be ruthless. We've not got to work with sentimentality, but that doesn't mean that we can't make an attempt to bring through these youngsters. It's very, very important to do that. The Nunez update is really intriguing. I'm waiting. I've messaged a few of the journalists that we work with on the Terrace and at Give Me Sport, and I'm waiting for a bit of an update. But it does appear that Man United have submitted a bid. Now, I don't think that bid is one of the ones that the media would call an official bid. It is via intermediaries. But Man United have tabled an offer into Benfica. They are looking to try and get that deal done. The one thing that's confusing me about Man United stuff at the minute is a lot of these deals feel really close. And that is not like us. I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit skeptical about it. I really, really am. Barca's financial situation went from embarrassing to humiliating to depressing. Weddings at the new camp. Is that what they're doing now? Oh, my word. I had no idea about that. That's what they're really doing. My God. That's not good. That's not good. But there we go. Terry, what's happening, bro? I'm very, very good. How is everybody else this morning? What is everybody else up to? What is everybody else doing? I want to know where you at, where you're watching from. Leave that in the live comment section now. Nearly 800 of you watching live on this Saturday morning. Please make sure you've smashed that like button for us, though. It's really important to the Terrace that you do that. David here says, I agree. Having a minimum 5 youth academy players, 4 or 5 new signings also creates a fresh squad atmosphere, cleanse the dressing room. Exactly. And this is the thing with the amount of people leaving. I've said this before. Again, some of the mainstream media, some of the Man United content creators have been very disingenuous with the quote unquote rebuild. And I'll tell you as to why. Because most of these players would have left if Ollie was still here. They weren't signing new deals and they weren't being utilized or used under Ollie. So this rebuild hasn't happened because Ten Hag has come in. Some are going to try and spin it like he's come in and he's changed the world. I'm not even digging Eric Ten Hag out here. Most of these players were leaving with or without Ten Hag. We were going to promote 3 or 4 of these academy players and buy 4 or 5 players. It was always going to happen. So for me, it's being a little bit too much. It's a bit like the changing behind the scenes. There's a number of senior members of Man United staff that have gone because they're part of Woodward's regime. There are some that are gone because they've done very good jobs in those independent roles and they've got great opportunities elsewhere. But it's all been thrown into this big basket of Ten Hag's come in with his size 10 boots and clearing out the ranks. It's not quite as basic as that, really. It really, really isn't. De Jong, Timber, Neves, Nunez would be a brilliant window. Then the next year we address the fullback situation. Listen, I agree with you. I think that would be a tremendous window for Manchester United. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Terry, tell KJ Vibes FC exhibition match at the new camp. Yeah, that could work, you know. That could work. Look at this, George says, having a McDonald's double egg McMuffin and then going for a 10K walk with my backyard brigade park. Nice, mate. Nice. I got to get the street. My street's all set up for a street party today. The streets decided to do it mainly for the kids and stuff, and we're gonna have a bit of a party later today. So yeah, looking forward to that. I got the barbecue ready. The meat's been marinating all night. So last night I got the meat out, did the marinades, seasoned all the meat. It's ready to be cooked. It's ready to be cooked. I've got to go and get some gas though, actually. But yeah, all good. Bruno Fernandes also missed sitters and was hit and miss. Juventus played to his strengths. That's why he was bragging next season. He will deliver. This was his adaptation year. I don't know what the Juve comments about. I don't get the Juve bit. Look, Bruno had a bad year this year, like everybody else in the Man United squad. Everyone gets a fresh, clean slate under Ten Hag for me. And let's see what happens. Look, I'm going to open up the lines now. If you want to come on, if you want to have your say this morning on this news regarding Frankie de Jong or any other transfers. I know Arsenal fans want to speak about, I want to make sure I pronounce his name right. Let me just read this through again.
Gianluca Scamacca.
Scamacca. I wasn't too familiar with this player. I kind of heard about him loosely. Arsenal have had a £34 million bid rejected for him. If you want to speak about that, feel free to as well. The live comment link has now been posted into the live comment section, whatever platform you're watching on, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. You can go and click on that now and come on and have your say. The only YouTube channel that lets you speak. United should go for Gavi. Liverpool are working very hard on that deal. I tell you, what do I think of Bastoni? Since Bastoni was linked to Spurs, like I always do, I do research on players, and very talented. For 23, looks very good, but very, very difficult to get. That's the point. Very, very difficult to get. I still think it's doable, but I think Spurs have got to pay a premium. I think they've got to pay a premium to get him. It's doable. Egal's backstage. He's laughing when I say that because I think he's a bit worried about Spurs getting Bastoni. Spurs have just signed Ivan Perisic as well. Do you know what is funny about Perisic? I saw Man United fans who said he was too old for Man United 6 years ago say it's a brilliant signing for Spurs. I shouldn't laugh so loud. I'm just like, what? It's a good signing for Spurs because it's horses for courses. He'll play brilliantly for Antonio Conte, the same as he would have killed the Premier League under Jose Mourinho. But and I was one of them, by the way, we were all like, no, but what about Anthony Martial and his development? Listen, I'm done with that now. I'm done with that talk. I don't care about any player's development. If Mo Salah wakes up this morning and says, I want to play for Arsenal, it's been my dream, and Arsenal go, we can't get Mo Salah because what about poor Saka? Then you're a dead club. Legit dead. Dead. You know, I remember saying that to KJ, called him out. Listen, I know Greenwood's gone for different reasons. We can't have Haaland because what about Greenwood? Haaland's better. you always want your club to get better, bruv. Like, don't worry about the development. It's as simple as that. A gal's going to join me in a few moments. I'm going to get Mo on first, Z on first. Mo's here, Man United fan. What you saying, bro?
I'm getting a bit excited now, Terry, with this news about Frankie de Jong. You know, I love transfers. I love being linked to all these players. You know, it's like the kid in me. You know, you like to get, linked to world-class players. And, I think what Man United have done is very good, where they had the exits. And I like the way they did the exits, like one after another was dropping. So we've moved on these players. Some of them were flops, Terry. Let's not argue about it. One of my most favourite players, who my profile picture was, looking back at his career, I'll say he was a flop at Man United. So
Where you
we just want to move on.
You're back now. Yeah,
get some new players in. Get De Jong in.
I hear you. I'm a little bit excited. I'm excited, but I'm tempering myself because I've been excited before and it's gone wrong. However, the bit that I'm getting nervous about and weirded out about is that quite a few of these deals appear to be close. If we bring in 2 or 3 of these players in the opening couple of weeks of this window, because it's very unlikely any of these guys are going to be announced during the Nations League and when players are away on international duty, and that's still going on for another 10, 11 days. If in sort of 10, 14 days' time, Nunez and De Jong are announced, and then we move on to the other deals, we don't act with that speed before. That's a positive sign. It doesn't mean I suddenly go out and buy shirts for me and the kids. Doesn't mean I suddenly rejoin the waiting list for a season ticket at Man United. It means I say well done. I keep the pressure on them to keep improving, but it shows us the different direction that we're going in terms of our approach to signing players. And the bit I liked in the report today from Sport is United are making their final push. So it sounds like if we can't convince Frankie, can't come to an agreement with Barca, they're making it sound like Man United will move on to a different target. That's also essential because we can't keep chasing our tails on these players, No,
100%, Terry. And also, I want to add one more thing as well, Terry, about the football terrace. And sometimes, people come on here and give you stick and whatnot. End of the day, these transfer stories, a lot of work goes into these stories. I know how much hard work you do. You have to verify the sources, verify the journalists, and it takes a lot of work to do. So, big up the football terrace because, we get this news for free. We're not paying nothing. And we know all the hard work that you do for the football terrace. For the last 5-6 years, you've been providing a brilliant show to the fans, and you get idiots come on that chat rubbish and nonsense. It takes a lot of work. You don't magically wake up and get the transfer stories like from the internet. It's a lot of work.
Mate, I agree. And listen,
journalists and whatnot. So big up the football terrace, Terry.
I appreciate that, Mo. Thank you very much for coming on and having your say, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Top man. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I appreciate that. And you know what? It was a nice day for me because it's not something that I think what I'm about to show you, most of you've already seen it. It doesn't make me more knowledgeable. It doesn't make my opinion worth more than anybody's. That's why I am. And this isn't an arrogant statement. We are quite literally the only YouTube channel that almost daily lets the viewers phone in and have their say. No one else does that. Big up Saeed, he does a phoning show, and a few others sort of let people like comments and that. We're the only ones that do it. But yesterday, we I got verified on Twitter yesterday, which is very, very nice. Got my blue tick, which I was very, very happy about there. Over 2,500 new followers in a day. Some people really do care about the blue tick. But it was a nice moment for me. It really, really was. It was a very, very nice moment to sort of see that happen and see that go through. And it's funny because someone said, yeah, but you're a clickbaiter. And I'm like, you do realize when you have to apply for it. YouTube manually reviews what you do, who you are, and you have to fill in all these different boxes and forms and send them links to things and verify stuff. And yeah, and also even this, when you get a verification tick on YouTube. So when people say, I know Goldbridge gets this. You guys just clickbait. Do you know to get that plaque on the wall up there from YouTube, they do a manual review of your channel. They review your titles, thumbnails, and your content manually. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks to check to whether or not your views and subscribers are genuine. So you're not clickbaiting, you're not lying, you're not misleading people. You don't get that if you're a clickbaiter. You don't get the blue tick if you're a clickbaiter. So when people say it to me, when I say it doesn't resonate, it doesn't hurt me, it's like water for ducks back, I laugh. Because I just think, I actually pity those people and feel a little bit sorry for them that's all they've got in their life is to be abusive towards me and try and put me down. So yeah, I'm not bothered. It's all fun and games. There we go. Zion's coming on. Then my brother Igal's coming on here. Frankie's comment he made yesterday could end up for a transfer. What were them comments, Daniel? I didn't see his comments from yesterday, but let me know. Zion's here. What you saying, my friend?
You're right, Terry.
I'm very, very well. What's on your mind, my bro?
I've got a couple of things. Basically, obviously, rumours are coming out that Todd Bowley's looking for a new sporting director and a director at Chelsea. And obviously, Lukaku on his way out, possibly in the summer, which I think is a great sign, in my opinion. So, in regards to the sporting director-wise, I think it's a big move. It's a big move for not only the football club, because Marina's been here since Roman's here. And she's done brilliant transfers. I mean, people are slagging her off now because she's leaving. And I think that's a bit harsh because, in my opinion, she's been one of the best directors we've had in a long time. I think even league-wise, I think the negotiations she's done with like rival fans, rival clubs, European clubs. I mean, look at the Hazard deal we got from Lille. I mean, 20 million we got Hazard for. And the rest is history. I mean, we sold him off for, and like, look at the money that we got, like 20 million now just because they won the Champions League and League last season. So 106 million for Eden Hazard we got, and Hazard hasn't barely played for Real Madrid yet. So, people got to give her flowers, to be honest with you. And obviously, if it was a sporting director or director of football we were looking for, obviously PSG, in my opinion, is snatched my favourite. Luis Campos, in my opinion, is just, one of the best. And one of the best out there. I mean, look at the Monaco team he created. Look at that team, Mbappe, Lamar, Dembele. I mean, these players are just like, in their prime, but, youngsters coming up in the ranks.
Fabinho,
and
Fabinho.
Exactly. So, I mean, that director of football would have been my first choice.
I hear you on Marina. Like, I've literally seen the Chelsea fans go for it. I remember that famous fan cam where a geezer was calling, I'm not going to use the word, but was being very offensive towards her. To a couple of years later, when you had that summer where you under Lampard where you signed 6-7 players, she was being lauded as the best in the. I mean, last year she won the award for being the best director of football. I think with Chelsea, and I know a lot of Chelsea fans don't like to do it. It was the one weakness under Roman was his chop and change approach. Him forcing some signings in that managers didn't want. I think has undermined what the likes of Marina have done, if that makes sense. And I think
in my opinion, it's a collective unit fault. I mean, it's not just one person. It's not just one person. She doesn't make the decisions around it. It's Roman who made the decisions. Final call was Roman's call. So at the end of the day, she was just approaching Roman with these targets, and Roman said, "No, I don't like it. Yes, I do like it." So it's not like, and people were saying, "Oh, well, the Bakayoko deal wasn't great. The Drinkwater deal wasn't great," but it wasn't her choice to make. Roman was looking at these players because of their success in the past history.
So. Totally agree, mate. I really do. And I think Chelsea are going to have a big summer. There's a few things for them to sort out first. Jules Koundé, listen, every journalist I speak to is like, yeah, it's pretty much done over the line. Of course, players are all away at the minute. They're all taking their holidays, all taking their breaks. So it's unlikely that completions of deals are going to happen in this next week period. International duty for people as well. The last time I saw, he was at a basketball game in America somewhere. So it's just about being patient for a few more weeks. Zion, thanks.
Just a quick one, sorry, Terry. Just regarding the Frankie de Jong, basically what he said was that the reason why he was asked about how he plays so well at with the national team than the Barcelona team, and he's clearly stated that there you go, that the way they play suits him better than the way Barcelona play. So that could lead United getting him, because I don't think Barcelona are playing to his full standards. He's a quality player.
Listen, I've said all along, and you've watched some of the shows. I know you have your regular view of the Terrace, that him saying that I want to be at Barca, it's my dream club. I have personally felt like, I've heard that before from many, many players. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. Zion, thanks for coming on, mate, and having a top man. Thank you. Igal on the show next, people. A few people asking for Chelsea updates. There is no real new news around Chelsea. Big Dembele links out there. Jules Koundé looks like he's going to come in. One deal I was told about when it comes to Chelsea is keep your eye out for Raheem Sterling. Nothing's really been done. There's no kind of big talks or agents being discussed, but 3 journalists has all said the same thing to me. Keep your eye out for Raheem Sterling to Chelsea. That's an intriguing one for me. It really, really is. Do me a favor this morning, people, and smash that like and that share button. I've had someone DM me again. Stop the clickbait. Top man for doing that. Top man. It's not my fault. you're weak. Do you know what I mean? But there we go. Terry Fabrizio just updated on Lewandowski. I've just seen that Lewandowski update, and essentially what he has said, and I'll repeat this. I'll put it on the screen, actually, and then I'm getting my guy Gal out here to have his say this one. I'm sure he's got a lot to say early on the Saturday. It feels like a Sunday morning today. What he has said here, and I'll put it on the screen, is that Lewandowski wants to join Barcelona. No way for other clubs as of today. He knows it's still not easy to reach an agreement with Bayern, but he's only waiting for Barcelona. Lever has a verbal agreement on a 3-year deal. And this is another one of the reasons why there's big encouragement in Manchester about Frankie de Jong, because they can't even register Christensen. They can't even register Kesse. They can't register these players yet. So they can't register Lewandowski. He's going to be on big money. Big money. But there we go. We missed on Tchouaméni. This is very bad. Do you know what, Matt? I don't think Chelsea missed out on Tchouaméni. This is what's happened. And this happens a lot in the transfer market. And I mean this with respect to Chelsea. Real Madrid didn't think they were going to have the money for Tchouaméni because they believed they were getting Kylian Mbappe. Butterfly effect football. One big deal happens. You know, if Lewandowski didn't want to leave Bayern Munich, maybe Barcelona keep Frankie de Jong because they wouldn't need the money. But they need a Lewandowski. Lewandowski with an Aubameyang playing off of him. Woo! That's dynamite. Igal's with me now this morning, people. Make sure that like button is being smashed. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Really do appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving us recently. It's been absolutely amazing. It really has. But Igal's here now. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. Terry, first of all, congratulations getting your all the hard work leads to what you deserve, man. And you already know what it is. I know you're a humble guy, so you don't want me to go on for too long. So I'm gonna get back to football.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. It's do you know what it is? It's kind of a nice thing for me because you know I get accused of a lot of things, which are people like you that know me know exactly what I'm like. You spend a lot of time with me privately, so it's nice to get a little bit of recognition in that way. So yeah, it's very nice indeed. 100%. So thank you.
Yeah, man. And let's get back to football. It's been it feels like it's been a month since we last played, but like there's literally nothing's happening for Arsenal. I'll tell you this right now. All these things that are going to be happening behind the scenes, and I don't expect anything for at least a month or two. We're going to hear a bunch of links, so many players linked to Arsenal right now. But when it comes to Gianluca Scamacca, I don't think he's going to leave Italy. I think this is a power play. I view it as a power play. I view it as one of those things where it's like Italian players tend to stay in the Serie A. How many Italian players do we even have in the Premier League? Historically, I can only remember like 3 or 4. Like
Zola, Aquilani,
the fullback. What's his name?
Darmian. Darmian came here. Not very many.
The West Ham guy, the fullback. Was he not Italian also?
I can't remember. I'm honestly, I'm like you.
Jorginho, that's it.
Yep, Italian players in the Premier League. I'm googling it because I'm confused. Mario Balotelli. Obviously there was you had like Di Matteo, you had Di Canio, but there's not been
the Man City kid. Starts with an S. Super fast winger.
I don't remember. Yeah, that's it. I don't even remember. But yeah, there's not been very many over the years. You're absolutely right, mate. You're absolutely right. Especially not top Italian players as well. Yeah, absolutely.
And this whole thing reminds me, it smells like Vlahovic all over again. It smells like Vlahovic all over again, where it's like Arsenal Football Club need a striker. There's a player who scored 16 goals playing in Italy. And I personally think he's gonna look for a move within the Serie A, maybe to Italy, maybe to Inter, maybe to somebody else. But for now, this whole thing, I even though they're saying there was a bid submitted and rejected, something just smells funny. It doesn't seem like, why would we do this if Gabriel Jesus is our priority? It doesn't make sense. It's a smoke screen.
But why? What do you think the smoke screen is for? Because
I think the smoke screen might be from his side, and it benefits Arsenal to show that we have other targets also. So it might be something that benefits both parties to show, you know what, we have other targets than just Jesus. And on the player side, it benefits him if other teams might be interested. This might be the thing that makes them come knocking.
Look, maybe. Look, the thing with the Gabriel Jesus situation is this: Ben Jacobs got hell from Arsenal fans on the terrace nearly 2 weeks ago when he said that the fee is going to be in excess of 50 to 55 million for Gabriel. Yeah, but the point is Gunners, Arsenal are only right now have offered about 35 to 40 million pound for him. Arsenal, this is what I'd be worried about as an Arsenal fan, is that you need players of the experience and quality of Gabriel Jesus, Yuri Tillemans. It's get the bids in, get the deals done. If you're using this Scamacca, I swear that's from somebody from
Scamacca.
Is it Macca or
Scamacca?
Luka Scamacca.
Scamacca, yeah, sorry.
So it's like Mecca. Remember
Cool.
Mecca.
Cool, him. I don't get the point of wasting time smoke screening when you just bid 55 million and get Gabriel Jesus. That would be if I'm an Arsenal fan, it would be Edu, Mikel, stop with the game, stop with the smoke and mirrors, and just put the adequate bids in to get the players. Because not only do you want these players done and off the market so nobody else can come in and get them, but you also want these players. Do you know, it's only going to be about 3 weeks. And the players are going to return for pre-season. You want these players for the beginning of the summer.
Numerous times. We do this every year, Terry. Why are you surprised? Every year come summer, we have targets. We dilly-dally and wait until the end of the window to get stuff done. Be it because we aren't confident that we're going to get the deal done and we hold it off, or we just leave stuff till last minute and we panic. We've seen it in the January window. We panicked. We tried to get deals done. Nothing came through. We've done it before. Thomas Partey deal on the last day. Last season, we got all our players in after the preseason started. I honestly don't believe Arsenal will sign any player of major note until at least in Nations League's done.
And I get that. I mean, what's the feeling like amongst Gunners? Like I see things on Twitter, but I'm
very
not
pessimistic.
Very really. But
Yeah.
so let me ask you this question though. This isn't a dig. This is a question. So don't take it the wrong way. When you sat with me and did the 12th man, you were talking about how excited you were about the projects and the direction of the club and how things were operating. This has been my point to Arsenal fans. It now seems like the way you're operating in the transfer market, what Edu and the decision makers are doing, annoys you all. That's why I can't understand why there's so much faith in Arteta. Because
you want to know something?
Because the same people that you're angry with for the way they run things are the people that are backing Arteta. Like that for me, it's like the blind leading the blind a little bit, if that makes sense.
To me, it seems like Arteta has more ambition in actually trying to get the team sorted and get the right players in the right positions than some of the people that are running the club do. That's what it seems like to me. And that's why a lot of people who back Arteta back him regardless of what's going on next season, get us either Europa League or get us into the top 4. And you know what? You can stick around. Or else you got to go. I don't care that he's gotten a contract. It's boom or bust for him this season.
I understand that. Look, and I think you'll bring in Tillemans. I think you'll bring in Gabriel Jesus. As of right now, those deals look nailed on for Arsenal.
But it's not enough.
Oh, you need more than that. I mean, let me ask you about Man United. We're talking Frankie de Jong today. United look like they're doing very well in the de Jong negotiations. Darwin Nunez, we've got an update coming on that later. Ruben Neves. You know, do you feel like Man United are going about their summer in the right way with speed and with good ambition? Like, how do you see it as a rival?
I just think Man United, once they have big outgoings like Paul Pogba going out of the team, they were always going to bring in some big fishes. So it just makes sense to go for Frankie de Jong. He's a good player. He's already worked with the manager, and you already know what you're going to get from him. He's a quality player. This is a marquee signing right there. But the rest of the players that you're really linked to, Terry, I don't really know much about them besides Darwin Nunez, which I don't know how he's going to fit in that United team personally. But the rest, they all look good. Timber, I don't know much about Timber either, but I've heard he's shorter. He's a shorter center back. Is that true?
I don't know. I've heard he's short. I've never Googled it. Timber.
I've seen people making jokes about him yesterday all over their socials. He's like 5'9" or 5'8".
No, let's just convert this meters into feet.
People, they over exaggerate stuff online.
1.79. Oh geez, it's 5'9". Yeah, 5'9". So that is pretty. I mean, it's not short in general life. It's about average. But if for a centre back, that's pretty short. But then I swear Jules Koundé is about the same size, and I think.
Imagine him standing next to Harry Maguire. You look like his son.
Jules Koundé is a centimetre shorter. So there are, and he's kind of, but then, yeah, it's one of them ones. He is pretty short. He is pretty short for a centre back. In terms of Frankie de Jong, what's your take on there's a lot of criticism from rivals, especially to Man United, that we shouldn't go for a player who doesn't desire and dream about us.
What? From rivals or from your own fans?
Some are our own fans, but they're the pessimistic ones. But a lot of rivals, because the point I'd make is this: do you think in his heart, Gabriel Jesus, does he if he was told by Pep today, I'm going to play you as my main number 9 next season, do you think he'd leave City for Arsenal? If he was told he'd be the main number 9?
Am I not mistaken? Wasn't Andy Cole part of the Arsenal academy and he was one of your best strikers? So it's like,
no, I mean, I get it. This is the point I'm kind of alluding to. A lot of players don't necessarily want to leave the clubs they're leaving. It's just the nature of football. It's a mad one to me. Even on Twitter today, people like to
look at Jamie Carragher, Liverpool legend, and he's an Everton fan.
Yeah, of course. I couldn't agree with you more. I see more and more rival fans getting rattled by the idea of.
You know what it is? I've come to the conclusion that Frankie de Jong to Arsenal would be a dream signing, but for you guys, it's realistic. It's just for us, it's not. We just we don't spend the money. We don't go out and do a business like that. You guys have the financial clout to do that?
Are you concerned? Spurs look like they're going to do bits this summer. Chelsea.
I'm not worried about Spurs.
Should be. They're already better than you, bro. They're already much better than you.
I'm not worried about Spurs because
how? Why?
They can bring in Bastoni. He's probably a good center back. They can have a good center back pairing. They can do it as much as they want. But I know Spurs, when it comes to a year's time, they're gonna have issues with Conte, and he's gonna leave the same way he left every other club.
I hear that. I think is that hope though? That's what you're hoping for, isn't it? That's hope.
No. In the short term, they might be good, and they're definitely probably going to be better than us in the short term because they're in the Champions League right now, and they're going to be able to get better players. But for if you're going to look at the long term, this is not a long term project that they have at Tottenham. This is literally to try to get the best out of Kane and Son for the short term. That's what it is.
I understand that. What about Man United though? You finished in front of us this year. You were better than us this year. Are you starting to get that feeling of we're not going to, because you've got the money to act, you can spend, right? You could go and buy these, you've got money to spend at Arsenal, but you're refusing to. What do you think the mood's going to be like if the Chelseas, the Spurses and the Man Uniteds all on paper end up having better summers and and we all have, and I'm not being horrible here. I think we all have better managers than you. Does that not?
It's not about the manager for me for United. It's the fact that even Pep Guardiola and Klopp came into teams and it took them a year to get stuff sorted out. This year is going to be a whole transition year. I don't expect Man United to snap into gear and be back in the top 4 and be competing for stuff in a year's time. This whole year is going to be painful to watch at times because you're going to see things that you like, but you're not going to see it up to the standard because the players aren't ready to play that. And it's going to be a transition for the manager and the players. There's a big overhaul happening in Manchester United, and it's not going to click into gear this season. It's going to take at least 2 years.
Listen, you could be right about that. I still think with the right signings this summer, United will compete for the top 4 next year. It won't be easy, but I think we'll compete. I honestly think as long as we sign the right players in the right amount of time, I don't know who drops out. It depends on if Spurs and Chelsea both get better as well, we might not make it. But Man United will accumulate in the Premier League next year. This season compared to next year, I guarantee we have nearly 20 more points.
You want to know, Terry? I think 100%. That is extremely ambitious. Because how many points did you have this season? 56?
Something like that. We'll have in and around 20. So it might be 17, it might be 20. Do you know why
you're saying 76 points next season? That gets you top 4.
Yeah, but do you want to know? Yeah, that depends. It depends on how much Chelsea and Spurs improve by as well. But the reason that I say that's doable, if you actually go back and look at a lot of Man United results this year, there are so many games. Watford would stand out as an example. There was the Everton game. There was the Burnley game, Southampton. In that run, before we got knocked out by Atletico Madrid, where we were the better team, we just weren't putting teams to bed. We weren't maintaining our qualities. We dropped somewhere in the region under Ralph alone, somewhere about 15 points in games where you would say we were by far the better team. We had the chances. We just didn't finish our dinner. I don't think it's going to take that much to like improve enough to improve the team so we can generate that many amount of points. I've already said it, and I stand by what I've said before. We've got a good to very good squad.
Was Ralph out of his depth?
No, not in my opinion.
Because he got a hat. His team.
Yeah,
team
exactly. His first game, Austria, they bang Croatia as well. Croatia are a good team, but yeah, he wasn't out of his depth. He just went in there, and those players did not want to work for him. And I think that because he wasn't the permanent manager, they just decided to throw him under the bus very quickly as well. If the players are remaining and the new signings work hard, we will be 15 to 20 points better off next season.
I think that's so ambitious, bro.
It's not though. It's not. You actually think about the games that we dropped points in where we were a better team. It isn't a crazy thought process to go with a better manager, with better coaching, with a better system, and with a better squad that we pick up the points in those games. You know, we were so uncompetitive, really and truly, in a lot of the games against our fellow top 6 teams. Apart from Arsenal and Spurs, we were awful in the other games. We will be so much better. We will not get, and this isn't a dig at those clubs. We are not getting pammed 4-5 by Liverpool next season. It's not happening. That was all to do with there being no effort, no togetherness, no morale at the club. That will be improved next year.
Can you admit though? Next season won't be smooth sailing. There's definitely going to be a lot of growing pains.
Do you know what? Do you know what I can see happening? What I can see happening is this. We could, and this is a theory, it may not work in this order. We could start the season well. We could win first 7 games, 8 games, or win 6, draw 1. And it's like, oh my God, it's going so well. And then we hit like a slump where we only win 1 in 4 and we go through these up and down moments. You know, a little bit like Pep in his first year. I can totally see that happening. I still think we'll accumulate 15, 16, 17, 18 more points next season, but there'll be up and downs as this team develops. It will take about 2 full seasons for this team to develop the fitness levels to be able to play 50-odd games a season at the pace and with the level of energy needed in a Ten Hag system. So there will be ups and there will be downs. There's no doubt about that. But there will be a vast improvement. You've got to remember, this is the worst. The last season, statistically, is the worst Manchester United team in the history of the Premier League. It's going to be better than that. I really believe it's going to be better than that. Not league position, though. That all depends on, and I got a DM from someone the other day telling me why I'm writing everybody else off. I'm not. I think we'll fight for top 4. It all depends on how much better Spurs and Chelsea and Arsenal are. And you know,
I feel like you're doing what you accuse other fans of doing sometimes, where it's like you're looking at your club in a whole and seeing all the possible improvements. Obviously, Tottenham are going to improve. Obviously, everyone's going to improve. I get that. But I don't think Manchester United, with Europa League, and also the fact that you're reducing your squad size to a minuscule level, is going to affect you to a certain degree.
The thing is, I'm not doing what you're accusing me of, because I've quite literally just sat here and said, we will improve. You said, do you think you'll get top 4? I said, that depends on how much better Chelsea and Spurs and Arsenal are. Yeah. So I've not done that at all. And people mishear that element. Man United will be better, much better than last season, in my opinion. Where we finish, the context is how good is everybody else going to be? That, for me, is the real big point when it comes to Man United next year. And you're right, the squad will look a little bit different. However, it'll be about the same size, because what we're going to do is about 8 to 10 will leave. We're going to sign about 5, and we're going to promote 3 or 4 new academy players. The squad will be in and around the same size. It will. Like that's not even a big thing in my opinion. What I do think, it's going to be a very, very, very exciting season indeed. There's no doubt about it. Gal, my brother, thank you for coming on this morning and having your say. I really appreciate it, bro. Top man. Thank you. Viewers, it's always nice to have a chat with Gal. I like it. Make sure that like button has been smashed. We'll be sitting on likewise this morning. We hit the 300 mark yet? Not quite. Let's get this past 300 likes, people, while we're live on the air. Excuse me, it's got a bit of a sore throat there. Imagine Leicester come back to take over Arsenal and Man United. Listen, they could. You know, they could anything can happen. No one expected Leicester to be as quote unquote poor as they were this season. They were meant to be in the top 4 race, and they just had a terrible season by the levels that everybody thought they were going to be at. Matt's on the show now, big Chelsea fan. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, big up Terry, big up everyone, big up to Gail, big up everyone in the chat, hope everyone's well. I mean, yeah, it's a fantastic day for more transfers to come. You know, quickly on De Jong, I think De Jong, I loved him at Ajax. He came to Barcelona. I think he did very well there. The kind of main problem is he a DM? I think defensively, he's played centre back for Barcelona a couple of times. He can play a defensive role, but I think it's more the positioning that I'm afraid of with De Jong in the Premier League. I would love to see him in the Premier League just for a start, but I don't want Man United to get in because I think if he finds that form, he will be fantastic. I'm not promoting him to come to Chelsea. I don't think it's a good time for Chelsea. Me too. I think Tuchel was our best option. We've now lost him. Now we have to find kind of another midfielder, looking at Rice, Sangare, and all these other names. But I do portray that Tuchel was the best option we could have got. And a lot of Chelsea fans, I think, do agree because this man, if you watch him last night again, Kante's been in bad form for last 3-4 months. Kante looked like prime Kante yesterday playing next to Tuchel. Imagine what he could do that every single week in, week out at Chelsea. So I think it was a massive mishap. And going to Madrid, it's everyone's dream too, but you got to look at the realistic standpoint. Will he even start? I mean, I think he's fantastic, but when you got to cross Modric and Casemiro in that midfield, I don't know if he gets a slot instantly. I think he has to wait like Camavinga does. And I think he's a player who deserves first team starting. So for me, I would 100% bring him to Chelsea for sure. And I think Koundé as well as done deal. He would have linked up perfectly with Tuchel. I mean, again, like last night, Koundé, not the best of games last night, but obviously he's had better. He's still linked up fantastically with Tuchel. Same agent, best friends, great chemistry. Bring those two boys in. And then the third French boy is Ousmane Dembele. Like we're starting half the French team, which is actually great. I love the French boys. I think they're fantastic. And I think,
just jump in a second. What is your
Go
thought?
on.
What is your thoughts on Dembele coming in, the injury record and everything else? Are you comfortable with Chelsea making that signing?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a massive fan of Dembele, and I think people who back Tuchel should back Dembele as well. Tuchel came out not long ago and said Dembele is the most talented player he's ever managed in his whole career. And I back my manager. My manager wants a 15-year-old from Saudi Arabia. I'll get him. Whatever he wants, he should get because we see Klopp and Pep building their teams. I think Tuchel deserves to build his own team as well because we could dominate football if Tuchel builds his own team. But obviously Dembele, I think he's a natural winger. He's still got the most assists in La Liga. His goal contribution's fantastic as well. He crosses, he's left to right foot. We don't know what foot he is. It's obviously, as you pointed out, it's the injury prone list. That's one thing I'm afraid of. He hasn't been injured in 7 months. I look at Barcelona's team, doctor team, medical team, whatever they're called. I'm not saying that they're to blame, but I look at other injuries like Ansu Fati, Gavi, even Umtiti, and these players, because I've watched Barcelona for a long time, and these players, they come back and then 3 weeks later they get the same injury again, and it's not just with one, it's with half the team. I'm not saying that's obviously the medical team's fault. Possibly could be something with Dembele, obviously has to be, but I'm not that worried because look at our whole attack. We're kind of injury prone already. We have limited options, and he hasn't been injured 7 months. So I would 100% take it.
Listen, it's a compelling argument, and I think backing your manager when your manager wants a player is key. And I think maybe that's where the Todd Bowley era could be very different to the Roman era, where they actually get behind the philosophy and the system and the style that's being embedded and coached into the team. Every now and then, Roman would go against that. I think most Chelsea fans in their heart of hearts would admit that and see that. And if you give Thomas Tuchel what he wants, that's when he can take you to the next level. And it's got to be a big summer for Thomas Tuchel because you signed one player for him last year and Sal Niguez on loan, and neither have worked out. The club needs to back him, give him his players, because you've done so well. Many finals, Champions League winners, champions of the world, and all sorts. But that's without giving him his own players. So look, I've got on a personal note, I'm skeptical about Dembele because of his injury record. But I agree with you. If Tuchel wants him, give him what he wants. Matty, really appreciate you coming on this morning and having your say. Top man. Thank you very much indeed. Baz is on the show now. Big Man United fan. What are you saying, Bazza?
Hey, Terry. Long time no talk. How's it going with you?
Yeah, I'm good, my friend. I'm good. What's on your mind?
Yeah. So I wanted to just see what you think about this. Now, obviously, I think the De Jong deal is a good value deal. I really do think that. I think, obviously, a player like him who is in good form would go for well over 100 billion in a normal market, a normal situation. So I think I think he's going to have to come into a reality that Barca doesn't want him anymore. And they're playing the game now, and he's got I think the whole argument about the dream that he lives in Barcelona, his dream's over effectively there. So I think once he realizes that, he's going to probably get more warmed up to the idea of coming to United, hopefully. But I wanted to ask you about this. Outside of that, I still am struggling to see what our transfer plan is this summer. And I'm concerned that although I do trust Eric Ten Hag and want to give him the keys to the kingdom, and he's come from a proper club that runs properly, but he's done that with people who know what they're doing. And I'm just not convinced that we have anybody at the club that knows what they're doing when it comes to making a transfer plan.
So it's a good question. It's a very good question, and I would kind of answer it in this way. We've got Andy O'Boyle that's come in, very credible within the industry. You've got John Myrtle and Darren Fletcher that I know everybody is like umming and ahhing about, and I get that. Eric Ten Hag's come in with a brilliant CV and a brilliant track record, and people really trust him across the continent. The difference this season is that we're now being told and promised publicly that it's those football people that will be making the plans and the decisions as a collective, as opposed to Judge and Woodward essentially having the overarching say. People like Woodward saying no to scouts, no to the whoever the sort of the quote unquote director of football was, even though they didn't have that title that were doing that role, no to the managers. You had Ed Woodward telling LVG and Jose Mourinho that their view of a player was wrong and his was better. That's where the strategy is changing. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying Man United have made the changes. We're back. We're going to be flying. I'm going to wait to see the proof. The proof's in the pudding always. I want to see what we yield from this labor. But that's where the difference is. We're being told now, and it feels like footballing people are making those footballing decisions. We haven't had that for 9 years. Before Fergie retired, it was Fergie and David Gill. Now, David Gill wasn't a football man in the sense of he wasn't an ex-player that become a guy that run a football club, but he worked alongside Fergie, and Fergie essentially was the manager. He was the director of football, and him and David Gill run everything. And it was football, and Fergie listened to his scouts and he listened to his assistant managers. He listened to football people and invariably got the decisions right. We went away from that for a decade. So the plan is very, very simple. It's let people with football knowledge make footballing decisions. And the hope is that these football decisions are right and we have a good summer, the players improve us and we get better as a team. Because what I would like over the next 2 years, not only to improve on the football pitch, not only to become competitive, not only to work back towards challenging for big titles, I want us to get away from focusing on the way we're run. That's how you know you're well run, when you're not thinking about it. Does that make sense? And
100%, because we never thought about United being run even when the Glazers came in, we never thought about that because obviously we're being well run for such a long time, and it took a while for us to start realizing, wait a second, why didn't we replace Ronaldo? Why didn't we do this? And by the time Fergie was gone, it was pretty obvious, right? But I agree with you. I think that sounds right, where it's not going to be best in class, which I still believe it should be, but are working towards being best in class, but it's going to be something better than what we've been doing, I think.
Yeah, and I think what's important, and I said this to Gooners in the season when they were like, oh, wow, we've really, really improved. We may get better, but the Man United fans, do not take your foot metaphorically off the neck of the Glazers, and let's continue this. One good summer, one good season, 2 good summers, 2 good seasons is not enough with the amount of money we spend. People often say that my expectations are too high. Until we stop spending one of the highest amounts of money in the world, I'm not lowering my expectations. If we were spending the same level as Brighton, I would lower my expectations, but we don't. We've outspent Man City in the last 5 years across all metrics of spending. So, of course, my ambition has got to be very, very high because they're hemorrhaging a lot of money. Listen, Matty, top man for coming. Baz, sorry. Thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much indeed. And listen, I know there's a lot of you backstage. I am at the end of the stream. I've got more content coming out later, but there's a street party going on today, and I've got to get ready. The kids will go mental if I'm not ready for it. So I've got to go, but please hit the like button before you leave. A big thank you to everyone that's followed me on Twitter, everyone that's in the Telegram notification group chat as well. I post all the transfer news that we get via the Terrace and Give Me Sport in there first, predominantly. So make sure you're in that group. You also won't miss any notifications when we go live on the Terrace as well. But until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Thanks.